Hello, Pudge fans. Josh here. Happy New Year to everyone. For the start of the year, I thought I'd try something a little different than my usual videos. So we're going to see how this goes. Today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to take and make a series starting with the Air Element deck. And we're going to focus on improving this deck for $25. So I have a budget of $25 to spend. I am going to use TCG Mid for these prices. And again, this is the beginning of 2024. So that's kind of when the prices are being made in case someone watches this video a year down the road and things have changed drastically. For the purposes of the $25, any ordinary is 10 cents. Any exceptional is 50 cents. And for anything elite or above, I will give the actual prices. Although, as many of you know, the elites, most of them are $1 or less in beta. Of course, these will be beta prices as well. I'm not going to use alpha prices, just so everyone's clear. So we're going to go ahead here and get started. Now, as everyone knows, these decks from the 4 Elements pre-con are not really tournament legal because they only have 36 spellbook cards and 16 Atlas cards. You can see that right there where it just shows 36 spellbooks cards, 16 Atlas cards. So right off the bat, we're already short 4 cards in both parts of the deck. But we'll go ahead here and we'll get started. And what I'm going to show you first is the cards that we're going to remove, and then we'll go in and show the cards that we're going to add. We'll start with the Atlas deck. So the Atlas deck actually is pretty good, and I don't want to spend a ton of money here, but the cards that we're going to remove from the Atlas deck, we're going to remove 2 Gothic Towers, a Dark Tower, and a Lone Tower. So we're going to remove 4 cards, okay? So that's going to leave us with this grouping of cards here that we've got left, okay? Good news is one of the most important uniques is actually included in the deck, at least in terms of air. So we've got the Cloud City right there. So that's going to make things a little bit easier for us. So after we've taken out these 4 cards, we've only got 12 cards. So we need to add 8. Okay. So we've taken these out to add in our 8 cards. The 8 cards that we are going to add to this deck. We are going to add an Updraft Ridge. We're going to add 3 Watchtowers. We're going to add a Mountain Pass. And finally, we're going to add 3 Free Cities. So that's going to be the 8 cards that we're going to add to the deck. That will get us to where we are compliant and have the 20 necessary cards. So your deck will, we're going to flesh out the Mountain Passes, if I can get a hold of them. Right there. There we go. And flesh out the Updraft Ridges so that there's also 3 of those. And then the Observatory, the Cloud City, the Planter Gate, and then the 2 Lone Towers there. So that's what the deck will look like when you're done. That'll be the 20 cards once you've made these updates. So in terms of expense, again, these are all exceptionals, right? So we've added 8 exceptionals. So that's going to cost us $4 of our $25 budget because I'm considering each exceptional a 50-cent cost. Okay, so 3 Free Cities, 3 Watchtowers, 1 Mountain Pass, 1 Updraft Ridge. That's what that's going to run us. Okay, so that is our site deck updated to try to make it a little more viable. Next, and more importantly, the spell book. I'm just going to put the Spark Mage out of view here. No reason to have him in here. Again, 36 cards, so we get to add 4 automatically. But the cards we are going to cut, and this is going to get a little bit messy. And there's a lot, again, this is kind of an opinion thing. So, you may prefer a certain creature over the creatures I select to add, which is fine. I'm just showing you some recommendations to upgrade this deck on the cheap. So these are the cards we are going to remove. We're going to remove the 2 Snow Leopards, the 2 Cloud Spirits, the 2 Dead of Night Demons, the Kite Archer, the 2 Midnight Rogues are coming out, the Spire Lich, the Gyre Hippogriffs, the Roaming Monster, the Highland Clansman, both Apprentice Wizards, the Teleport, and the Raised Dead. So those are the cards that are going to be coming out. So you can see that's quite a few cards that we are going to replace, right? In fact, it's 21 cards. Yes, 21 cards. Well, it's 17 cards, but we get the 4 extra. So we're going to be adding 21 cards to this deck. We're only keeping 19 of the original cards from the Error deck. Okay? So we've got all these out of here. These are all gone. And I'm trying to lay them all out so that, you can see everything, see what needs to come out. Again, I'm just a guy here, doing this for fun. So I can't do any fancy editing or anything like that. Don't know anything about it. Don't plan on really learning anything about it. Just trying to throw some of these out for fun. So the things that we are going to add, we're going to go ahead and start with the ordinaries that we're going to add. I did say, we need to get up to 40 right away because the deck only has 36. So the first 4 cards that we are going to add right off the bat is the card that should be in every single air deck you ever make, Grapple Shot. There should be 4 Grapple Shots in any deck you're playing that has air. This is, without a doubt, the best ordinary in the entire game. I don't think anyone would argue that. It's just a great card, all in all. Then we're going to add a couple of blinks. Okay. So that's going to bring us up to where we will have a total of 4 blinks in the deck. All right. But we're adding 2. Then we're going to add a lightning bolt to get us up to a total of 4. Okay. So those are the only ordinaries that we are adding. So 40, so we're saying 10 cents, so there's 70 cents there. So I'm just going to say $1. So we spent $4 on the sites. We spent another $1 on spellbook ordinaries. That gets us to $5, leaves us $20. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to add quite a few exceptionals. Okay. So we are going to add 2 Lucky Charms to round out the set. We're going to add 2 Thunderstorms to round out the set. We're going to add 2 Sling Pixies, again, to round out the set. I will say I kind of waffled on the Sling Pixies, but I do love them. So they made the cut in my deck. They may not in yours. You may want Cloud Spirits instead. You may want to up the number of Plume Pegasuses or something like that. But I like the Sling Pixies. I think they're an annoying, fun little card. So I decided to keep them in. We're going to add 2 more Skirmishers of Mew. Probably one of the best exceptionals in the game because of their ability to make a ranged attack and also attack. Let's see here. And then we're going to add a Headless Haunt, which will round out the Headless Haunt set. And finally, we're going to add 2 Vampires, okay, in terms of exceptionals. The other exceptionals left in the deck are the Chain Lightnings. And because I didn't mention it, the other ordinaries that we left in the deck were the 2 Spectral Stalkers and the 2 Plume Pegasus. Those were left in the deck as well. Okay. So that's where we're at so far. All right. So we are at officially 35 cards with all these cards in the deck. So now we get to the core of the money we've spent. Now, like I said, with the commons, There were 7 of them we added, so I'm just going to count that as $1. And then we spent $4 on the site, so we're at 5. So the exceptionals, I'm counting at 50 cents a piece. So there's two ads, so that's $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $5.50. Okay, so $5.50 plus the 5 we spent, so we're at $10.50 right now. All right. And yeah, I'll leave these out so everyone can see them there. And then we've got the Grandmaster Wizard that we kept, and we're going to add a Grandmaster Wizard. So that's going to be another 5, right? So that's going to put us at $15.50. We've got the Nimbus Gen that came in the deck, and we're going to add another, which puts us at $16.50. And then finally, the big add is the mechanism. Now, the mechanism is $8 right now, so that's going to put us at $23.50. So actually, we're kind of short on the 25. You know, we didn't really spend it all, but $23.50 to upgrade this deck and make it much more consistent and much more viable. Now, if you wanted to put more money into this, you know, I think with this, you know, the nice thing about sorcery and the thing that I don't think everyone realizes, everyone's like, oh, I have to have a core and I have to have a Philosopher's Stone. No, you don't. There are plenty of very good decks that are not using those high-end cards right now. And just making these type of small modifications with some of the best of the lot, you know, Grapple Shot and Blink and, you know, rounding out Lightning Bolt and that type of thing can really maximize the effectiveness of a deck. You know, and getting some more of these really good, like the Skirmishers of Mu, you know, making sure that you've got 3 of those instead of just 1 can really make the deck much more fun and much more entertaining. Now, if you wanted to go further, if you wanted to spend even more money, the other candidates to add, the big one, the one that I think is probably highest priority, is Highland Princess. Now, the problem with Highland Princess is her price keeps going up. She is up to $28 right now on TCG mid, or on TCG at mid. So, you know, she is now $28. So you're talking about basically doubling the cost of everything that I've just done by adding her in. But, I mean, effectively, you know, her whole purpose is to get your mechanism out. Because the purpose of this deck, you know, is to minimize the randomization. Obviously, the mechanism is the best card to ensure that doesn't happen. So you would want to put that Highland Princess in there and cut, you know, a card to get her in. I'd probably drop, you know, given that she's a low drop, I'd probably drop a Sling Pixie and put her in so that you can get to that mechanism faster. Other options of cards that you might add, everyone's probably like, well, why didn't you add an observatory? Well, believe it or not, this site on TCG is currently at $8. So observatory, which oddly enough is included, 1 copy, in the pre-constructed deck is at $8 now. And that's because pretty much every deck using air is using observatory. And you need 2 rather than the 1 that you would need for most uniques. So, you know, this card is holding some serious value. You can probably get them for less than $8, you know, on the Discord or on the Facebook groups or whatever. But this card is holding some value. So that's another good choice if you wanted to make another small tweak for another $8. There you go. Another big jump, which this one went up very much compared to when I last looked. So Mirror Realm. Mirror Realm is a great card. There's, you know, I mean, I think everyone that plays probably drops a Mirror Realm in their site deck. Now, because it's up to $34 now, according to TCG Player, you know, people might start to scale back on that. And I'm sure some folks don't include it. But I always find Mirror Realm useful, not just for duplicating one of my side effects, but for the purpose of, you know, stealing theirs. You know, I find that's very helpful. So, but again, you're looking at $34. Again, the cost of every update that we made to this deck, more than that, what we just spent just to add this 1 card. Another fun one, and I put this in there personally just because I think it's fun, is the orb. The problem with the orb is it is a double-edged sword because your opponent gets to use it too. But it really is fun to use this card to, cast Grapple Shot, and then it duplicates Grapple Shot, and you do it again. So it's a pretty fun card, and this is only $5. So a pretty minimal cost card that can really add to the, I would say, the excitement of play, because you never know what your opponent's going to do back to you while you're trying to abuse this as much as they are too. So, but just another fun card. Another option, probably one that you would expect, Browse. Browse is currently $13. Another way to potentially get to that mechanism quickly. Hopefully it's in those top 7 cards and you can, snag it and get the mechanism out. So Browse is obviously another good option for that. And finally, it wouldn't be a game if we didn't talk about a core or stone. So I think a core goes very well in this deck. I'm not sure that a stone does. There's a lot of low cost stuff in this, so I don't know how helpful a stone's going to be, because this is a fast deck. You want to kill your opponent as quickly as possible. So I don't know if the stone is especially given the price tag of $200 right now. You're probably just best off, if you're going to spend that kind of money, just buy the core. For I think Amethyst cores are up to 70 now, according to TCG Player. I thought they were at 60, but I guess this one seems to be the most sought after because everyone does want to play air because everybody wants to play Grapple Shot. So that is another option. But I hope, looking at this and seeing, for $25, we updated the site deck, we updated the main deck itself. We didn't go crazy. We added a mechanism, a single unique card. So it's not like we added a bunch of uniques and spent a ton of money. $25 to do this. I think it's a great way. It makes the deck much more fun, much more reliable. There's a lot of randomization in this pre-constructed deck. So trying to make that randomization more reliable and play the way you want it to and do what you want it to do is very important. So those are the recommendations that I would make. Now, again, this is my preference. You may want to keep other cards, maybe instead of the Sling Pixies, you're like, I don't want to keep those silly Sling Pixies. I'm going to keep, the Cloud Spirits, which are a 2/2, that are a little bit stronger and they have the faster move. That's fine. I just like the Sling Pixies because they're fun and annoying. So those are some of the options. But, I think you can see from this, you can really upgrade a deck, on the cheap and make it pretty good. So I'm going to keep on doing this and do a whole series here, hopefully once with each deck, and we'll see where it goes. But I hope you all enjoy it. Let me know if you do, and we'll see where I go from here. See you all later.